So what you can see at the top there, if you imagine this is an ice cream shop, you've got the pink spoon, a little sample size, got an ice cream cone, obviously, got a gallon of ice cream, you got ice cream cake, and there's a calendar at the bottom. The calendar is like the club, where every month you do a ice cream related activity, something like that. Yeah. So this is an example of a business model. The the whole business model is important. I'll give a few examples of business models that don't make any sense. If your business model was just pink spoons, I mean, literally, you had an ice cream business, and the only thing you offered was free samples. You can understand how that would fall apart right away. Yeah. If it was just the club, where every month you like, maybe you make ice cream one month, you milk cows another month, you have a dinner where all the different dishes are paired with different ice creams, all this. If you only had the club, that you probably wouldn't. How would you even reach people to get into the club? How would you fill it without the other pieces? So those are obvious ones. Or if you think about a yoga studio, there's the free pass. Yeah, Pink Spoon would just be like, hey, come for a free class. Then this next level would be the drop-in class where they just pay for a single class. Then you might have the memberships, 30-day pass, 10 pass, all these things. And then you'd have the retreats, the workshops, come for a weekend. We're going to work on your psoas muscle. We're going to work on back bends or headstands or any of these. And then there's the club. And that's the thing that pays for the whole yoga studio, which is the teacher trainings. Yeah, I mean, you take the teacher trainings out of a yoga studio model, you don't have a yoga studio in a year. That's really where most of the money comes from. So obviously, if you're a yoga studio and all you did was offer free passes to your classes and there was nothing else, you'd go broke. And if all you did was do teacher trainings and that's it, and there was no other way for people to check you out, how the hell would what's your plan to fill these damn things? Okay. So that's obvious. Only the pink spoons and only the kind of membership thing. That doesn't work. But what about only ice cream cones? Only ice cream cones is that's most people's business model. I see as service providers. What does that look like? You want to come for a session? Great. You want to book another session? Perfect. You want to book another session? Of course, they don't even ask usually. It's just come for a session. Thanks. Goodbye. I miss you. Yeah. So that's what that looks like. And what I would suggest is that is an impossible business model to do just single session after single session after single session. That you have to expand your business model in both directions. Now, of course, this is typically called a sales funnel, and the reason is it's broader at the top. Just more people are going to get the ice cream cones. Very few people will join down here for this. More people this, less people that. So uh, let's talk about the pink spoons first. So pink spoons. These are the free samples, the ways that people can check you out from a distance. And I'll give you the 4 criteria of pink spoons, and I'll give you the 4 types generally of pink spoons. So the 4 criteria of a pink spoon. Criteria number 1 is it's free. You don't charge any money for this. Totally free. Number 2 is that uh, it does have to give them a legitimate taste of what you do. I mean, just think, I'm not as a metaphor, an actual pink spoon at an ice cream shop. It's a pink spoon, not a pink toothpick. Yeah, there's enough you can get a taste. Number 3, it's got to be risk-free for them. No risk to try it. Don't ask anything of them. It's just totally free and totally risk-free. And 4th, ideally it should be automatable, meaning it can happen while you sleep. They can be checking it out. So that's the 4 criteria. Free, gives them a taste, risk-free, automatable. Think about doing a free talk, like an intro talk. Well, that kind of a talk is free, yes. Give them a good taste of what you do, hopefully. Is it risk-free? No. Now, if it's just an hour or two, and if it's a Zoom call, even less. but there's some risk to showing up in a room with a group of people emotionally. And then is it automatable? No, because you have to be there live every time. Giving a free sample, 15-minute sample foot massage at the Folk Fest, as a friend of mine would do. Is it free? Yes. Does it give them a good taste? Sure. But is it risk-free? No. Having a stranger touch your feet like is not risk-free. And is it automatable? No, you have to be there doing it in person. So, okay, so that's the 4 criteria. Here's the 4 types. This won't come as a big surprise, but just good to recap them. Video, audio, written, quizzes or assessments. Video, audio, written, quizzes and assessments. Those are the 4 types. So, online video, I've been a fan of this for years. It's so helpful to give people a sense of who you are, just your vibe. I don't know about you, I find it very disconcerting if I go to a website and I can't even see a photo of the person. It's just like, this is weird. Who the hell are you? Yeah. And if I can't see a video, I had this where I was looking for therapy around something, and I went to psychologytoday.com. And so this is what this looks like in the real world. I go there, and first of all, most of them are not niched. They help everyone with everything. So that's problem number 1. Number 2, their profiles, most of them were so bare bones. Not much info there to even make a decision, and no photo, so I couldn't see them. Now, some of them had a photo and a niche and a good Reddit. Well, that's great. I go to their website, and their website is nothing there. Here's what I want as somebody who's seeking therapy. This is risky for me emotionally and financially. I mean, I bet most of you out there, you can give away if it's true. You spend a lot of money on a first therapy session that you regretted. Anyone else? It was like, wow, this is not a fit. Why did I spend all this money? Yeah, it's like, this sucks. That was $180 for nothing. So we don't want to do that, and we don't want people to come to us and feel that way. So what do? We do the filtering. How do we do that? Well, here's some videos you can check out. Here's my YouTube channel. You can check me out from a distance in your pajamas at home. No risk to you at all. Get a good taste of what I do, and I'm sleeping myself. Perfect. Of course, audio is another. And by the way, with video, the video could be just you talking to the camera. It could be video of you coaching somebody. Byron Katie has a bunch of these. It could be a video of you making some product or service. It could be a video of, you've seen videos on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. There's lots of ways, or you could be an interview, podcast video, you interviewing somebody interviewing you. Audio, much the same stuff. Downloadable meditations, downloadable visualizations. These are examples. I've got all my videos from YouTube. I hired a friend of mine. She just moved them all over to SoundCloud as well. So now they're in both places. Sometimes people prefer to listen. I know I do. Just using all the data for videos is a little much. So if I could just listen to the audio while I'm doing dishes or going for a walk or on a road trip, great. So there's that. Then there's written, of course, blog posts, articles, ebooks, white papers, special reports, all of that is a way that people can check you out from a distance. And then there's quizzes and assessments. And so there's so many services now online. There's assessmentgenerator.com is one I've seen. Try Interact, TRY, interact.com. I've heard good things about. I haven't delved into this myself very much. But there's a lot of tools out there. Just Google, create an online quiz or assessment, and there you go. There's tons out there. But which Doctor Who character are you? These quizzes people enjoy. One of the people in my mentorship program, she has this real beautiful point of view about that for a lot of women, they feel like they're torn between either being the good girl or the rebel. And I was saying, you should create a quiz where women could kind of get a sense, which one do I lean on? What's my propensity? And which one is my public and which one's my private? There's some really interesting things that could be done there. So those are the 4 types of pink spoons. Yeah. So just let's pause there. Any questions? Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, Mick.
Hi, Tad. Firstly, thank you so much for today. I'm really loving it so far. Really loving all of the content. and I have some of those kind of pink spoons on my website. I haven't got them all streamlined or in the same place, but I'm just wondering, should one put them in the same place, and what kind of title would you put on the page for that part of your website?
I just have a free stuff tab myself.
Free stuff.
The way to structure these is a really good question. How do you put these things together? And there's probably a lot of different opinions, but yeah, you could have a free stuff page. You can just say, hey, link here to my Instagram and YouTube and my blog, and here's where all the free stuff is. There's that. But one of the things I'm going to be doing, and I think this is a good idea, is creating the email autoresponder series. So when people come to your website, there's free stuff they can check out, not opting into a damn thing. Just check you out from. I think that's important to have stuff they don't have to opt in for.
Yeah.
But then it's also good to have maybe something they have to opt in for, you know. But the reason for this is because then you can create a kind of experience for them. And so this, it would be a kind of an email series where it's, hey, you know, week 1, we're going to get this email. Week 2, you get this email. Every day you're going to get an email with a little bite-sized chunk to walk you from having this problem to the solution. So, you know, let's say it was migraines. Okay, you know, week 1, the first thing you're going to do today, very simple, get yourself a glass water bottle. You know, boom. The next day, it's like, okay, most important thing you're going to do for the next week is you're going to make sure that in the first thing in the morning, you drink 3 of those water bottles when you have an empty stomach. And that, you see what I'm saying? You can walk people through a real process, and it could be a process like that, or it could be, look, over the next week or 30 days, you're going to get emails from me where I walk you through the big ideas around this. You know, so if it was the migraines again, big idea number 1, 80% of this is dehydration. Here's the studies, the stats that, you know, number 2, it's about tension in these muscles. And so here's the most important exercises you can do. And you're kind of giving people this free stuff, walking them through it. Because here's the idea. And there's a video I've got on this on YouTube. I think it's called Be Generous with Your Content, Be Stingy with Your Time, something like that. But that's the idea, yeah? Share the content for free, for the most part. Here it is. Why? Because people then have to translate it for themselves. And some people will, and some people won't know how. So what you're sharing with the free content is your point of view. So problem, premise, promise, the premise part, the context part. This is what builds all the credibility. So it's like, look, this is how I see it. I mean, isn't this strange? I have 700 videos or something on YouTube. I've got 700 blog posts. The hell are you all doing here? This is insane. Why are you spending your time, and some of you your money? It makes no sense. But it does, of course, because theory is one thing, but theory is only so useful. You could do a day, one of my colleagues in Calgary, Alberta, she has a day-long workshop called Financial Journeys, helping people with their finances. And the workshop is so good, chock-a-block full of very actionable content, specific, here's what you need to know, here's all the elements at play. At the end of it, 70 or 80% of people want to work with her one-on-one. But they just got all the details. She told them everything. She wasn't holding anything back. But what she was revealing is all the things that need to be tended to, which then people get overwhelmed by it. Like, oh my God, I need help. They start to realize they need help. The help they'd always needed, they just didn't even know they needed. But now it's clear that they do. So yes, you could just do it a free stuff tab. You could do it as an email series. You walk them through it. It could be a free mini course. Hey, you just enter your email here, whatever, and you opt in, and then you get this online little course. No problem. And it'll walk you through. You could do it with an app. You know, I suppose these days, hey, get this free app, and it's going to walk you through some of the main core point of view stuff, that type of thing. Does that help at all, Mick?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else questions about this whole pink spoon thing?
What? Sorry, can I ask Tab? What do you do with the quizzes, for example?
Quizzes. Yeah, I'm trying to find who's speaking here.
Jenny, it's Jenny.
Well, there's different things you can do, and I'm not an expert in it, but
yeah.
It's the type of thing. So with this, the good girl or rebel, let's use that. So this is Linda Katz, Katz. If you're interested in that whole theme of good girl versus rebel, you can Google her and find her out. But so yeah, somebody would get the answer and it would say, okay, hey, based on these answers, you lean really heavily. You're like 90% good girl. You're very little percent rebel. And
Yeah.
based on that, here's probably the symptoms that are going on in your life. This is what you may be noticing. And so here's a free offer. Here's a cheap offer. Here's a next step for you.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's a next step, and then there's a next step. You know, and so that could be, hey, here's an ebook that's just for you as my free gift. That gives some of the more foundational ideas, the basic ideas. You know, if you're curious, like, you know, what probably happened, how'd you be a good girl? Here you go. This will help. You know, and if you'd like to dig deeper into, you know, for coaching or whatever, maybe it's I've got this DIY home study course. I've got a group program that I do once a year, or I've got a free office hours calls you could join in on. I've got, hey, you could do a discovery session with me. There's all sorts of options. So if there's kind of an aesthetic taste or, you know, strategic choice to make there, but the quiz would lead them to the next step. Or, and this is equally valid, it might say, you know what, you're totally balanced. You're actually not a good girl. You're not a rebel. You're not caught in reactivity. You don't need my help at all. Congratulations. It sounds like you've had a great life. I hope the rest of it is great too. It could be that. That's just as valid a response.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the goal of the quiz, is it helps filter. Is this a fit? Do they actually have the problem or not? And if not, boy, what a beautiful thing to get as a result of a quiz. You're fine.
Yeah. And it's nice to look at it like that, like the quiz is a filter rather than a hook. It's more generous.
Yeah, it's well, and it's you can come up with like a title that's a bit of a hook, but even then, you know, it's interesting with email subject lines or headlines, whatever. People think, oh, the purpose of the email subject line is to get people to open the email. Wrong. The purpose of the email subject line is to get the right people to open the email. And anyone that email isn't for. So for example, if I say, hey, if I well, I had this workshop coming up today. You know, I don't send out an email saying the craziest thing I've ever told anyone. You know, what the fuck? Because then they open it up and say, it's so crazy. I can't believe I've never done this workshop online before. And I do that, the bait and switch. People get wise to it. But every once in a while you do send out an email like that where it's like, look, this is the craziest thing I've ever said. And if you actually deliver on that, you build the trust. It's like, wow, that was a crazy thing. Okay. Tad believes in aliens. All right. That was a crazy thing to confess to his marketing list. Interesting choice. But yeah, at least they would trust me. That's like, well, he didn't let me down. That was some crazy shit. So yeah, the same with the quiz. You know, the title of the quiz, you just don't overpromise. That's the main thing. You make sure it's. I mean, yes, I suppose this is the art in marketing. It's compelling, but also accurate. Because you can make it just banal, and there's no zip to it. I mean, you can have style. Style is cool. It's okay to have style and a bit of panache in your presentation. Why not, man? Life is short. But you can be accurate too. It doesn't have to be a manipulation. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the other part of the business model. Okay, so but here's the important thing to know. Well, actually, hold on first. When we look at the business model, we've got the pink spoon, but then there's three other P's. We've got products, we've got programs, and then we've got packages. Products, programs, and packages. So this is the rest of this stuff, yeah? The rest of the sales funnel after the pink spoon and the ice cream cone. These are products, programs, or packages, just as three general categories. So when I say products, what do I mean? Well, it depends. It could be a physical product, but ebooks, home study courses, you know, that type of thing. For a service provider, that's generally what I mean by that. Or a membership program, I guess, could be a sort of a product that you offer. And you know, of course, it could be you teach meditation, but you also sell meditation cushions and meditation seats. You sell some of the paraphernalia. You know, you teach beekeeping as a service, and you do workshops, but you also sell the hives. You know, you teach wine making workshops, but you also sell wine, that type of thing. So products is one additional part of the business model, possibly. Then there's programs. So programs would be workshops. So yeah, you're a massage therapist, you're a life coach, but you also do retreats, you do workshops, day-long workshop, evening workshop, weekend, week-long, whatever. Go to Costa Rica together, that type of thing. It's a program. So this is the, you know, it's the one-to-many model there. Instead of one-to-one, it's one-to-many, usually the group thing. And then, although a program, well, actually packages is the other thing. A package is, there's two basic types of packages. One kind of package is book 10 sessions for the price of 9. Yeah. Or the other one is, and a better type of package, you focus on a particular issue. And if you go to marketingforhippies.com/packages, you'll see an interview I did with Rebecca Tracy where we talk about packages. And if you check out, by the way, if you go to YouTube, SoundCloud, search for the playlist on business model, you'll see a bunch of other resources that just go deeper than we can go today to take this a little further. But yeah, so packages would be like, you know, if you're going through a painful divorce, it's a package where you bundle a bunch of things together. Oh, also check out marketingforhippies.com/premium. marketingforhippies.com/premium. You'll see 33 things that you could include in a package, like a higher end package. Yeah. And by the way, I would recommend when you start thinking about creating these packages or programs or products, start at the high level. Start here at the most expensive part. Don't start here. Start here and work backwards. Start here and then subtract things. So let's say you worked with people who are going in the middle of going through a painful divorce and you're helping them with that emotional, I don't know, and legal side of it, whatever. You start with, okay, imagine somebody came to you and they said, I'm rich, man, I'm rich. I got so much money, but I'm messed up in this area and I heard you can help. So money's not an issue. Like, what is the full solution you would give them? What's the full meal deal? And on the premium, that blog post, you'll see a bunch of examples of the types of things you could include that you might not think to include in a package. And then, you know, so that's the gold level, and the gold level includes a lot of one-on-one level stuff. The silver level is probably more of a group thing with a little bit of one-on-one, but mostly group. The bronze level of a package would be just DIY, home study program. Like give us a wave if you know who Wim Hof is. Good brother Wim Hof. Yeah, okay. So he has a home study. It was a 10-week home study program. I signed up for it. I loved it. It was so great. Got my weekly Wim Hof, got up to a 5-minute cold shower, you know, it's pretty great. So that's an example of what these things can look like. And no doubt you've seen your own versions, you know, the internet is awash with these things. So, by the way, if you sell products or you know someone who sells products, the flip of this would be services. So you're a wine store, but now you teach winemaking classes. Or you have, you know, a dinner. You have a, you know, a wine pairing dinner. You teach people becoming a sommelier 101. You do that. If you were a craft store, my assistant, Susan, some of you have had interactions with, she, for a while, co-ran a crafting store called the Spool Lounge in Barrie, Ontario. And I asked her, she was actually at my day-long workshop in Toronto at the Inner Arts Collective, and she was sitting in the back at this point in the workshop. I said, Susan, what percentage of your income was from the selling the craft materials and what was from the workshops? Because they did a lot of crafting workshops. And she sat there for a minute and she said, 50-50. So you see what I'm saying? If they took out the workshops and just sold the stuff, they would have lost out on 50% of their income. So this is really important to think through. Yeah, what are those different levels? So products, programs, packages. So let me just pause there and just see if there's any questions. Okay. So here's the key thing to know as a kind of step back, bigger picture on this. the purpose of the pink spoons is different than the purpose of those other 3 Ps. Purpose of the pink spoons, safety. Purpose of the rest of it, sustainability. Safety for whom? For them. Yeah, that's the purpose of the pink spoons. Safety is dramatically underrated in marketing. It is not talked about enough. Yeah, because you know what it's like. You go to a farmer's market or craft show, and you walk the periphery once through, don't you? Before you actually even go to any booths, you walk the periphery so you see all of it. Why? Because you don't want to go up to a booth. Why? Because you're going to get trapped. You feel guilty about, oh God, I didn't buy something from them, and it's it's just awkward. So we don't even want to deal with that awkwardness. So we just walk the periphery, and then you go to the booths you want to go to, yeah, and you talk with them. But ideally, for most of us, we don't want to be standing right there and get trapped in, because some of them we're so nice, and then we buy something out of guilt. Oh, I'll just get the cheapest. I feel so bad. So safety is a big deal. It's funny on the risk thing. Of course, lowering the risk, isn't that about safety? One of the biggest things you can do to reduce risk: have enough pink spoons that people can just check you out from a distance. When I do my live workshops, a lot of you are here, you're in the membership program, and I'm very happy to have you here. But when I do these live workshops, everyone is there basically pay what you can, or they've paid the full amount, or however they've come. And this is a question I've asked every workshop I've done, day-long workshop for the last, and at least 5 years, maybe it's 10, is I would say, okay, imagine this. Imagine that the only way you could have come to this day was you paid me $200 flat. Yeah? You can't come otherwise. You paid in advance, no pay what you can business at the end. Raise your hand if you would have come to this workshop, if that was the only way. And the biggest I've seen it was 25% said they would have come. The biggest, on the other side of the spread I've seen is like 1 out of 20, 5% of people. So somewhere between 5 and 25%, meaning almost everyone would not have come. Check that out. So you see what I'm saying? When I talk about lowering the risk, that this has a dramatic impact, it's that. If I say it can have 10 times the impact, 10 times the results, I'm not pulling this out of nowhere. I'm saying I've asked, and that's what I've seen. I've asked, I said, just please be candid with me. There's no hard feelings here. Just the truth. Would you have come? No, I wouldn't have come. So there you go. So safety is a huge deal. But sustainability also, yeah, your business is safe for others, but is it sustainable for you? And that's the rest of the business model. I mean, I could show you, maybe actually I'll see if I can just do this so you can get a sense, because I know I'm often curious about these things too. Let me just go pull this up. I normally don't have access to my computer, so I don't have this prepared because I've never thought to do this before. Let me just find the photos. So I want to show you my business model. I want to show you my numbers from 2019. Shouldn't take too long to find. So you can see what the business model looks like, and it'll be very different next year because, of course, the membership program is going to be changing a lot of things on my end. But this will give you some sense of here we go. Okay, so I'll do the share in a second. Once I figure out this works. Okay. Share screen. I know I can't. There we go. Okay. So you can see here, this is my 2019. This is where my income came from. And you can see the spread on it. So I had, this is all US dollars, by the way. And live workshops were in Canadian. So last year I made 148,000, but it's spread out. So when I first started, I had, where is it? My live workshops. which was only a weekend. I did a free intro, so I made no money on that, and I had live weekend workshops. That was literally the only part of my business model I had. Since then, I've added this ebook, The Niching Nest, which made me $1,000 in 2019. And I've developed products. So my Niching Spiral home study, or actually just the ebooks, I guess this would be. Last year, that made me 14,000. Affiliate stuff, I made 2,700. Then online programs, these are my 30-day programs, I believe. That was 10, is that it last year? No way, okay. Teleseminars, I made about 1,800. My Niching Spiral home study program, the 90-day program, which is included in the membership, by the way, in an upgraded, even better version, I'm proud of it, is 5,500. One-on-one, the puttering sessions I do, 6,700. My mentorship program, of course, that's where most of the money came from. That was 42,000. And then live workshops, 34,000. Yeah. So I share that just so you can get a sense of what it looks like, what a relief it was for me to have that. Because it went from, I had to do weekend workshops. And if I wasn't doing a weekend workshop, I was broke. That was the only place money came from. So this is my wish for you, is to develop a business model that's more sustainable. Yeah, it's not just hinging on one thing, because if it's all ice cream cones, it's a lot of pressure to put on that. And then you have to constantly ask people to rebook versus they've booked in for a year in a larger program or package, or yeah, you just spread out the thing. And the thing that blew my mind, I'll tell you this. So this workshop you're going through here, this content, one day, this was basically what I covered in my weekend workshop, but with more exercises or any exercises. And I used to, and one day I said, what if I offered this online? Because people said, come to Israel, come to Chicago, come to all these places. And I didn't want to travel all the time, honestly. It's not that compelling. But I thought, what if I did an online version? So I offered a 6-week online version, and it sold out, like 40 spots sold out. And I was offering it for $200 or something. It was $8,000 just wham in my account. I'd never made that kind of money before. And here's what killed me. I realized I could have done this 3 years ago. You know, that would have been money that is coming in of people who would have happily paid it. So there you go. There's so much to say about business model. But let me just say this one last thing, and this is with a nod to my dear friend and colleague, Alex Baisley, because there's a question of when you design your business model, where do you start? What's the foundation? How do you even come to this? And so if I draw a circle around the whole thing, here's I made it too big to draw a circle. Here's what is the foundation of it, is lifestyle. Yeah. And I want to recommend checking out Alex's website, bigdreamprogram.com. Yeah, B-I-G, dream, bigdreamprogram.com. And he just does the most beautiful work. But I'll give you the teaser of his stuff, and then you can go check him out on YouTube. Probably he's got stuff on his website. If you're going to design a business model, you start with the lifestyle you want, and then you back the business model into it. You do not start with the business model and try to cram in the lifestyle you want with it.